Turner Network Television presents Super Football Saturday. Today's matchup features the Tar Heels of North Carolina against the 12th-ranked Florida State Seminoles. Brought to you by Buick and your Buick dealers. For comfort, innovation, and a real commitment to quality, it's today's Buicks. And by Coors and Coors Light. Beers with a difference worth tasting.
From Doak Campbell Stadium on the campus of Florida State University in Tallahassee, it's the Tar Heels of North Carolina versus the 12th-ranked Florida State University Seminoles. Hello, everybody. This is Bob Neal, and this looks to be a very good football matchup today. But all week long here in Tallahassee, football has not been the story. The story and the talk has been about the death of a Florida State University football player. Earlier last week, offensive tackle Pablo Lopez was shot and killed. The 21-year-old junior from Miami was shot following an argument at a fraternity dance on campus early last Saturday morning. Byron Johnson, a Tallahassee resident who is not an FSU student, has been charged with first-degree murder. The death has had a stunning effect on the FSU team. Lopez, seen here with his best friend on the team, Fred Jones, was a native of Puerto Rico who grew up in Miami. He was the best offensive lineman and a popular leader on this team and had been married only 1 week prior to his death. His Seminole teammates attended memorial services here on campus Monday to share their grief and remember their friend and fellow athlete. Seminole head coach Bobby Bowden attended the funeral in Miami. He has experienced tragedies involving players before, but Bowden said this one was the most difficult.
This is not like anything I've ever had. I've been coaching for 34 years, and in that time I've had players killed, you know, accidents or something like that. Not many, but this one was different because it happens on your campus in front of your eyes with his mother way off who can't speak English, and lovable, very lovable young man, and so, no, I hope I don't ever have to go through this one again.
During the 1986 season, the Florida State University Seminoles will be wearing this decal on the back of their helmets that says Low, the nickname of Pablo Lopez, in memory of their friend and their teammate. Tim Foley has joined me now, and Tim, I might add one thing, that another player involved in that incident who was not injured but a player on this team, linebacker Ed Clark, has been suspended from the team and is involved in the investigation, and we'll keep up to date on that as the weeks go by. But let's turn to football now, and what kind of effect would an incident such as this, the death of Pablo Lopez, have on the Florida State football team?
Well, Bob, I think you have to look at it two ways, one from the emotional impact and the other from the personnel impact. I think in terms of emotion, I think there's probably a two-stage effect there. One is just shock, disbelief, which leads to a feeling of who cares about football in a situation like this. What's left after that original feeling dissipates, I think, is some anger and some bitterness. And what better place to funnel that anger than out here on the football field this afternoon? I'm one that tends to believe that adversity usually unites a team and brings a team closer together. I think you'll see FSU high emotionally. But from a technical standpoint, here's a team that had trouble in the offensive line against Nebraska, lost Dukes and Ionata coming into the season, and now they lose their best offensive lineman. So I don't know if they can overcome that or not.
Well, this game earlier in the year looked to be possibly a little bit of a breather for Florida State after Nebraska and prior to Michigan, but that may not be the case. North Carolina is tough.
They really are. And Dick Crum has built his success on the ground, got away from it for the last couple of years, started throwing the ball a little bit more due to personnel, but now he is back on the ground. It's a little bit like a NASCAR racer who was successful for 12 years in the NASCAR circuit and then tried Formula One for a couple of years, and now he's back at the World 600. They've got some people that can run the football.
And interestingly enough, the Florida State University kicking game is very good. North Carolina's kicking game is shaky. That could have a big influence on today's game. And we're going to be talking about the matchups between these two teams as we go along. But we're just a couple of minutes now away from kickoff. And before we come back for the coin toss in that kickoff, we're going to return you to our studios in Atlanta.
Very much, and we'll keep an eye on how that death of Pablo Lopez affects the Florida State team today. Many of our people in the Midwest will get to see Pitt and Purdue do battle this afternoon, a big intersectional game that features freshman quarterback Jeff George of Purdue. Last week in his opener as a collegian, he threw a touchdown pass against Ball State, but he also had 3 intercepted. He's going against the Panther defense today, not Ball State, and we'll see how well he fares against Pittsburgh, usually a good defensive team. One of the other games that we'll keep you updated along as we go throughout the day is a big game in the east, or in the southeast, and that is Alabama against Florida down in Gainesville. The 4th-ranked Crimson Tide with their really first severe test of the season other than the Ohio State game, but this game played on enemy turf will be a tough one for the Crimson Tide to win. 2 games already in progress. Virginia Tech is at Syracuse. Syracuse is 0-2 coming into this game, and they're headed to be 0-3 as Virginia Tech has jumped out to a 10-0 lead. Maurice Williams, a 23-yard touchdown run for the first score of that game. Another game underway already. Wake Forest, with a field goal in the first quarter, leads North Carolina State 3-0. Our national game this evening that kicks off at 7 o'clock Eastern Time will pit 6th-ranked Nebraska against Illinois up in Champaign, Illinois, and that'll be one to keep an eye on, Illinois losing last week. And we'll keep you updated all day long, but now let's go back to Tallahassee for the opening kickoff, which is moments away, North Carolina and Florida State.
There come the Florida State University Seminoles and the Tar Heels of North Carolina. Chief Osceola, the mascot on Renegade, the Appaloosa pony that is the war pony for the Seminoles here. You see that spear is burning and it's about to be thrown into the ground right in front of the Tar Heels, a tradition here in Tallahassee. We'll be back with a kickoff right after this.
Announces the big one, 2.9 annual percentage rate GMAC financing, now on any new 1986 Buick. Sure, others are offering special financing, but then they're not selling Buicks. 2.9% financing on every new 1986 Buick. Or choose cash back of up to $1,500 depending on model selected. Length of finance contract is limited. Hurry, you've got to see it to believe it.
Wouldn't you really rather have a Buick?
I always thought that time was a measure of quality. Now they've got technology that can cut the time of aging beer to that. Bam! Instant beer. Not Coors. Coors ages their beer longer than any other major brewer. Almost twice as long. To age any beer longer, it gets smoother. The more as you drink it. More like Coors. Nope. Coors won't take shortcuts with time. Coors is the one.
This is Super Football Saturday on Turner Network Television.
If you like potato chips, then you need to know there are some great ones made right here in Tallahassee. Martin's Potato Chips. Talk about tasty. Martin's uses only the finest potatoes, sliced thin as a dime. Then the chips are hand-cooked to ensure even frying. Still warm from the fryer, those chips are quickly packaged and delivered to your favorite grocery store. Hand-cooked, freshly packed, made right here in Tallahassee. Martin's Potato Chips, your hometown chip.
Once in a while, a deal comes along that sounds too good to be true. Well, this time, believe it. It's true. Palmer Harold Buick has 2.9% financing on all 1986 Buicks. 2.9% or giant cashback rebates on every Regal, every Century, every Somerset, every Electra, in fact, every 86 Buick on the lot. But it's also true that at these rates, the best selection won't last long. So hurry to Palmer Harold Buick Isuzu, where once again, we make quality affordable.
North Carolina won the toss, but elected to exercise their option in the second half, meaning they'll make their choice then, meaning Florida State chose to receive the ball. Here's the kickoff from Miller. It goes out of bounds, and he'll probably just back it up and kick it again, which will give me an opportunity to set this kickoff return and the kicking situation for you, which could prove to be a factor in this game. Florida State with a little bit of a surprise in terms of who will be returning the kicks here today. We have number 20, Keith Ross, who will be back deep for Florida State. He is a sophomore from Newberry, Florida, and a real speed merchant. He is one of the tailbacks for the Seminoles. And number 13 is a freshman, a true freshman by the name of Dexter Carter from Appling County, Georgia, actually Blakely, Georgia. He's 5'9", 165, a freshman who runs the 100 in 9.8. So we have two sub-100 sprinters back there. And there is Miller, Ken Miller, who's a junior from Phoenix, and he's been placed into the kickoff and long placement kicking situation for North Carolina, where they are struggling. And number 18, Miller, will also be punting today, replacing their excellent punter, Tommy Barnhart, who graduated last year. So that kicking game could be a problem for North Carolina. After the penalty, this one comes down to Ross at the 9. the 33-yard line. Tackled by 15, Victor Bullock. A 25-yard return by Ross. The Seminoles go on offense led by Chip Ferguson, the sophomore from Spartanburg, South Carolina. Sammy Smith, touted highly as a freshman last year, redshirted, and now he could be the key to the Florida State running game. Tanner Holloman starts at fullback. Darren Holloman will be on the outside, along with Herb Gaynor. There's the offensive line, and watch for Pat Carter, the tight end, and his blocking assignments against this 8-man front North Carolina defense. Here's the handoff, right up the middle on the opening play, and it goes to Sammy Smith, the freshman. And speaking of defense, that is an excellent North Carolina defensive unit. Best player on the front four is Reuben Davis, number 93. You'll be hearing his name called a lot today. One of their better starters is injured and will play only sparingly, Kubi Colombo. He's being replaced by Noel McCahern. Mitch White, Brett Rudolph, and Walter Bailey, called the Ram. He's really a rover back, will be a key player. And Derek Donald had 2 interceptions in the first game. He's their best performing defensive back as of now. Blitz on second down 4. It's picked up. The pass is completed for a first down. To the 48-yard line, Darren Holloman with the reception, tackled by number 4, Norris Davis, the strong safety for the North Carolina Tar Heels. A gain of 9 yards. Tim, this opening series for Florida State will tell them a lot, I'm sure, about their emotional attitude and about whether they can get what's been a little bit of a sputtering offense off to a start.
They've had some real problems in the offensive line, as we mentioned in the open. 7 sacks against Nebraska. They had to go back to 1977 to find a game in which Florida State had incurred that many sacks.
Here's Sammy Smith on the 1st and 10, getting nowhere at the line of scrimmage. Down goes Sammy Smith. Sammy's big, 6'2", 220. Tackled by 29 Bailey and 86 McCahern. There's Denny Crum, the head coach at North Carolina.
Yeah, Dick Crum and just had monumental success as a high school coach in Ohio. 38-2 his last 4 years as a head coach. Came to Miami University, just was fantastic there. And been at North Carolina now for a number of years, and success continues.
On 2nd down 11, Denny Crum up in Louisville, probably wondering why he missed the game when they said he was coaching. Here's Chip Ferguson going long, looking for Gaynor. It is incomplete. He did not get a foot down at the 24-yard line. Skeet Baldwin covering on the play. You see that good arm on the part of sophomore Chip Ferguson, and Gaynor's the man who can catch the long ones. It's a good name for him, Gainer.
Beautiful throw by Ferguson. Gaynor working to the outside. Looks like he might have slipped him down inside on that one, Bob, but a close call.
It's 3rd down 11 now. There's Herb Gaynor. He is a junior from Sarasota, 6'2". The other receiver, Darren Holloman, only 5'7". That's Darren in motion, number 24. 3rd and 11. Here comes North Carolina. Ferguson lets it go, but he was hit as he threw it. It goes incomplete, and Florida State stalls at their own 49-yard line, and now they're going to have to punt it. Here comes 97 Burton. Watch him.
We got a fine pass rush front. Denny Marson, the defensive coordinator for North Carolina. Really proud of these rascals, and there's Ronnie Burton putting the heat on Chip Ferguson.
Burton's a senior from Richmond. Here's the punt. Lewis Berry, one of the best punters in college football. Gets away a beauty. It is bobbled by Lewis, and he's headed down at the 6-yard line. Eric Lewis bobbled the ball. Oh, let's see if it was Lewis. Yes, he bobbled a 47-yard punt. He had bobbled one against Kansas just a week ago, and North Carolina starts in the hole. Art Schutz, 98, with the tackle for Florida State. Starting lineup for North Carolina, William Humes, the tailback, will be trading time back there with Derek Fenner. Humes and Fenner out of that tailback offense. Lewis and Streeter, the wide receivers, will be catching the passes from Jonathan Hall. Harris Martin, number 67, the best offensive lineman over at left tackle for the Tar Heels. First down 10 from their own 8-yard line. Handoff up the middle to Brad Lopp, the fullback, 215-pound junior. There's Jonathan Hall, sophomore quarterback from Vienna, Virginia. Let's look at that Florida State defense. Interestingly, the strength of this Florida State University team this year, at least early, Gerald Nichols has been playing very well, and you'll see him a lot. There he is on the right side, now the center of your screen, number 79. Fred Jones was a very close friend of Pablo Lopez, the player who died. His emotions will play a role today. And Martin Mayhew starting in place of the injured Eric Williams. They bobble the snap at the 10. North Carolina fell on the ball. It remains in the possession, I think, of the Tar Heels. Jonathan Hall got on it himself.
Bob, you talked about the kicking game and what an important part it will play in this particular contest. Lewis broke a cardinal rule as you watch a problem with the center quarterback exchange on your screen there. Lewis broke a cardinal rule, fielded the ball to the 5-yard line, and started North Carolina off in the hole here.
3rd down 7 from the 11. Here's Hume with his first carry, number 6. Doesn't get much. North Carolina will have to punt the ball away. That was Greg Newell, number 40, leading the tacklers for Florida State's defensive team. And here in front of the Doak Campbell crowd, this defense is getting a big, rousing round of applause. Deion Sanders will go back to take the punt from Ken Miller. Miller is a converted quarterback, punting, almost had it blocked. Sanders is going to just let that ball bounce, and it gets, interestingly enough, a nice Florida State bounce, but it went out of bounds at the 48, a 38-yard punt. And it's going to be Florida State football. We have 11:05 remaining in the first quarter of play. This is Super Football Saturday on TNT.
Once there were 3 brothers. They wanted to create Tallahassee's finest restaurant. One brother wanted to offer excellent steaks and the largest salad bar. Another brother wanted to serve the freshest seafood. The third brother wanted gourmet elegance with the widest variety of fine wines. The 3 brothers created Brothers 3. Each got his way. Excellent food, great atmosphere, the finest wines. Brothers 3 open 7 days a week for dinner.
At Brothers 3, we serve the best.
An automobile is a major purchase, so you want to make sure that you get a lot of car for the money. At Braun Motor Car, we have the best German-engineered automobiles designed for performance and handling. Our financing experts work with the top finance and leasing companies to get you the best rates available.
It's all yours.
Hey, thanks.
So you can have the most car for your money.
Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, BMW, Audi, Volkswagen. Yes, you can at Braun Motor Cars.
Florida State, you think of instant offense, and that just didn't start with the Bowden era. FSU has a long tradition of outstanding receivers. Names like Ron Sellers, Fred Biletnikoff, Dennis McKinnon, and Ouija Thompson grace the FSU record books from the early 60s to the present day. The play has already started. This is Ferguson's going to throw. He has 2 new receivers in there. It is incomplete, caught out of bounds. Walter Bailey covering tight end number 85, Brad Carter. Will be 2nd down 10 from the 48.
You're going to see Pat Carter here running a pattern. Play action pass, the strong side. Carter drifting out, just really a flare release. Ferguson looking downfield to Lewis. It wasn't there. Carter lost his concentration on the ball. The ball popped up. Still an incomplete pass.
Now both receivers are split wide to the left side here on 2nd down 10. Split backs. Here's number 30, Holloman. Close to the... He broke the tackle. Holloman to the 31-yard line. That's Tanner Holloman, the senior from Tallahassee, who is starting in place of Dane Williams today, who's injured. A 21-yard run.
Holloman is more of a halfback type of fullback, not known as a power runner, as he breaks the tackle of Burmeister and then just leaves a slew of North Carolina players in the dirt before White comes over to make the tackle. And I think, Bob, you can see some of the emotion in this Florida State team.
1st down 10 at the 31-yard line. Pro set formation this time. Ferguson. 4-man rush. 1 safety's after him. That's Norris Davis, number 4. Davis, the strong safety, had cheated up to the line of scrimmage and got back there and got Ferguson. Florida, and he's limping off the field. He's a key player if he's injured. 13-yard loss.
Norris Davis, a solid performer for the last 2 years from North Carolina. They play that Georgia-Maryland style of 4-man front, really an 8-man front. Instead of the rover and the strong safety situation, they really play it with 2 strong safeties.
13-yard loss, 2nd down 22. Florida State back to their own 43, near the 44-yard line. Ferguson takes about a 15-yard drop. He hits Sammy Smith. Great speed. Losing runner inside the 30 to the 29, but he had to go to the 21 for the 1st down. So it'll bring up 3rd down and long yardage, but they get some of that loss back. Mitch White, number 49, the linebacker, with the tackle.
A screen, a draw, any type of trick play, Bob, will take some of the heat off that offensive line. You got to try to do something to slow down that North Carolina front four as they're coming. If they don't, Chip Ferguson's going to be black and blue after this one.
Black and blue after the Nebraska game. Nebraska got Chip Ferguson 7 times. This is 3rd down 9 from the 30. Good protection. It is complete at the 30 to number 30, Tanner Holloman, but not much, if any, yardage. Beggins, number 16, the strong safety, playing in place of Norris Davis, who had injured his ankle, is in there and made the play, and it'll bring up 4th down again. Florida State is in field goal range here as they spot the ball at the 29. It's about a 46-yard attempt from Derek Schmidt. He certainly has a long enough leg to get that.
Rick, Berry, and Schmidt enter the Seminole lineup.
From the right hash mark. Schmidt's 2 out of 3 kicking field goals, and he's hit a 40 between the 40 and 49 earlier. Misses this one wide to the left side. Score remains 0-0, Florida State, North Carolina. 8:18 to go, quarter number 1.
Buick announces the big one. 2.9 annual percentage rate GMAC financing. Now on any new 1986 Buick. Sure, others are offering special financing, but then they're not selling Buicks. 2.9% financing on every new 1986 Buick. Or choose cash back of up to $1,500 depending on model selected. Length of finance contract is limited. Hurry, you've got to see it to believe it.
Wouldn't you really rather have a Buick?
We're not a company, but we'll give you a chance to work where there's always a challenge. We'll give you opportunities to learn, to develop, to perfect skills that you thought were beyond your reach. We'll help you build a career that can reward you for the rest of your life. We're not a company, we're your country. We're the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Well, it's a lovely day for football or suntanning here in Tallahassee, Florida. North Carolina ball, 1st and 10 from the 29. Started at the 8 the last time. Better field position for the Tar Heels. Jonathan Hall, number 5, the quarterback. Comes over to the near side. It is completed to number 27, the fullback, Brad Lopp, and Lopp gets it out here near the 40-yard line. Greg Newell with the tackle for Florida State.
That's complete number 27, Brad Lopp.
Bobby Bowden. What a guy he is. We love doing Florida State games because you get to spend some time with Bobby Bowden.
He probably has the game of football in a better perspective than any other coach I know, and has fun with it. His players have fun playing for him, and he's always entertaining to be around.
1st down 10 from the 40 for the Tar Heels. Scoreless game, 7:45 to go, 1st quarter. Here's number 6, Humes, the tailback. He doesn't get much. He is pulled down by 38, Paul McGowan, a junior linebacker for Florida State from Winter Park. Look at the sidelines of the North Carolina Tar Heels. They are 0-2 versus Florida State University, losing in '83 in the Peach Bowl, 28-3, and last year in Chapel Hill, 20-10. But the Tar Heels led 10-0 at halftime last year. From the 42, 2nd down. Like a possible broken play. It's the option. Hall doesn't get much. Terry Warren with the stop. Outside linebacker, junior from Titusville. Bring up 3rd down, 8 yards.
I'd imagine that North Carolina will show Florida a little bit of option after the Nebraska game. A misdirection option, good blocking up front, but the timing got messed up, and Hall might have had an opportunity to pitch early, couldn't get it off. The thing that has hurt Florida State in the past with regard to the option has been the quarterback keeping the football.
3rd and 9 from the 41. Incomplete. Intended for 25, Eric Streeter. And it'll be a punting situation once again. Only 1 first down picked up there, and now North Carolina turns it over.
You saw Dick Crum looking on there. Standing next to him is a young man named Bobby Elliott. And, of course, his dad coached at Bob's favorite school. My dad is Bump Elliott, coach at Michigan.
It's one of my favorite schools. Yeah. Here's Deion Sanders at the 8-yard line. Sanders, great speed, great open field runner. There's a penalty flags everywhere. Sanders may be able to take it all the way, but it won't count. Out of bounds at the 10-yard line, but penalty markers back at the 23. I believe there was a clip or an illegal block below the waist on the part of the Florida State University return team. How many great returns have been nullified in the last few years from the penalty markers? And one of the North Carolina players is down. That's Houston. He's one of the tight ends who is down on the field. See the brace on his left leg, and that's the leg he injured. That was an excellent punt of 51 yards. Ken Miller, we said an area of concern for North Carolina, but he really got his strong leg into it that time. They're attending to Houston over on the far sideline, the sophomore from Toledo. He's a big guy, too, 6'6", and an important player in this North Carolina offense.
Now, I've always told you being a kicker is the pits, right?
Yes,
now,
you have.
What they'll tell Miller that time is he out-kicked his coverage. He didn't get enough height on that punt, didn't give his team an opportunity to get down there and cover it. That's too long. Don't kick it that long.
Yeah, flipping on the receiving team on the run back. First down, 1st and 10.
There you saw one clip, the one on the left side of your screen when the video started there just moments ago, and I'm sure that was the call. We're going to take time out here as Florida State will have to move that ball back and start in the hole again. It's scoreless here, 6:09 to go, first quarter. This is Super Football Saturday on TNT.
Announcing the lowest rates and the highest rebates in Capital Chrysler Plymouth Dodge's history. Buy this new Chrysler Fifth Avenue or Dodge truck at just 2.4%. Drive home this LeBaron GTS Premium with $1,500 cash in your pocket. Your choice, 2.4% or cash back on most 86 and many 87 cars and trucks. But hurry for the largest selection. At this rate, they won't last long. From the dealer you believe in, Capital Chrysler Plymouth Dodge.
All right, you know why you're here. You still can't remember where to go for quality imported car repairs. Now move it. German cars. German cars. Furrin Auto. Furrin Auto. All others. All others. PAC. PAC. Who's got the large supply of foreign car parts? Furrin Auto. PAC. Who offers professional, high-quality repair service on German cars? Furrin Auto. All others. PAC. I'm proud of you, team.
Florida State ball, first down 10 from their 11, thanks to the clipping penalty on the punt return. Receivers split up to the top of your screen. This is Sammy Smith, number 33. Big bruising tailback with great speed. If they ever get this young man in gear, he is going to be a fantastic runner. Purdue, true freshman, Jeff George with 2 touchdown passes and a 14-0 lead over Pittsburgh. That's Tim Foley's version of his fight song. Virginia Tech 10, Syracuse 7 in the second quarter. Syracuse off to a rough start this year. They thought they'd be better than that. Wake Forest leading NC State 10-0. A little bit of a surprise there in the first quarter. Dick Sheridan, the new head coach at Wake Forest from Furman. Furman, by the way, you may recall, tied Georgia Tech last week. That 1AA power. Here's 33 Smith, nowhere. Maybe lost a yard or two. Mitch White, number 49, the linebacker, with his 3rd tackle. And, Tim, as we start looking at this Carolina defense, you look at the sideline right now in Houston, they're working on his knee. As you start looking at that defense, we were talking to Bobby Bowden as how they might want to approach it. It looks like the middle is going to be tough for Florida State to get anything out of it.
It really is, because Reuben Davis was an All-SEC performer on the outside for him last year. They moved him inside. He's put on about 15 or 20 pounds. He's 280. Tim Goad, one of the best interior linemen in the ACC. It's going to be tough for him to run inside, and that's usually where you attack that kind of defense.
Ferguson on 3rd and 4 from the 17, taking it upstairs. Had Philip Bryant, the speed merchant, deep, but he couldn't catch that ball. He was at his own 45. Skeet Baldwin covering. Bryant playing with an injured hand today, but he is the guy that can get deep to loosen up the defense.
And he is their best possession receiver. You're going to see two totally different styles of passing offense today. North Carolina is going to throw it to the backs. They didn't throw it to a wide receiver all last week against Kansas. But Florida State, they're going to put some air under the football. As you can see, they've already sent several down the way.
Here's a hurried punt on the part of Lewis Berry. It's taken by 35 Eric Starr. Down he goes at the 44, but the field position starting to change here. And now North Carolina at their own 44, a 43-yard punt, 5-yard return. Back in a moment.
Making room to fit into your lifestyle. Turn it on. Enjoy it every little moment.
Remember the great coupes of the past? Compare them to this, the Sabre Coupe from Buick. Shaped for the open road and backed by V6 performance with fuel injection. Buick's full-size front-wheel drive, the Sabre Coupe. The great American coupe is back.
Wouldn't you really rather have a Buick?
Who's gonna be at the Silver Bullet tonight?
Give me the news, I can take it.
You won, Lou.
You won.
You won? Hey, they won! Coors Light for the team!
The Bullets' first win?
Everything. Tell me everything.
There was no contest.
No contest? I love it. Well, what was the score?
Wasn't even close.
Whoa, Franny, a blowout. Oh, you guys are great. Score. Come on, come on.
No contest, Luke.
The other team never showed up.
There's no slowing down with the Silver Bullet tonight.
Coors Light beer.
North Carolina football, first down 10 from their own 45-yard line, and now they have a player in there you're going to want to watch. This guy can really play. His name is Fenner. He is a freshman. He has been a little bit of a discipline problem, nothing serious except he misses some meetings and such, but he's an excellent runner. He wears number 12 and a new fullback, number 40, James Thompson, in there. He gets the carry on the first down play. We're going to go back to Atlanta now for these college football highlights.
Thank you, Bob. Up at West Lafayette, Indiana, freshman Jeff George is putting on a show. 2 touchdown passes in the first quarter. This one 25 yards to Lance Scheib, who has caught both of them. Freshman to a sophomore, and Purdue looking good 14-0. Now let's go back to Tallahassee,
where it is second down 8 from the 47. And off to the fullback, Thompson once again, sophomore from Lumberton, North Carolina. So far, there's been more of a fullback offense than a tailback offense. Oh, my. I bet he's majoring in, what, exterior design? Guy's a former play-by-play broadcaster or television director. Florida State is playing some tough defense. North Carolina 0 for 2 on third down conversions. This is 3rd and 5, just shy of the 50-yard line. Pressure on Hall, avoids it, completes the pass to Thompson, the fullback. To the 25, to the 20, to the 15, and down he goes, and North Carolina threatening here early in this ball game with 3:21 to go in the first quarter. It is scoreless, and North Carolina is there. It was a 35-yard completion and run. Shelton Thompson almost got it.
Mickey Andrews coming with 5 men on the rush. Hall does a nice job, steps up inside. The fullback then comes clear over the middle, Thompson, and now Deion Sanders misses the tackle. Thompson rambles for another 25 yards.
It's down 10 at the 15-yard line of the Florida State Seminoles. Out of that tailback offense. Here's Fenner, number 12. Doesn't get much, maybe half a yard. Fenner is a sophomore. I said a redshirt freshman. He is a sophomore from Oxon Hill, Maryland. 6'4", 225, and a great physical specimen at tailback in that tradition of North Carolina tailbacks.
Exactly. You know, they've had at North Carolina 17 1,000-yard seasons for tailback, as opposed to like Southern California. You always think of them as a great tailback offense. They've only had 16.
Second down 10 from the 15 for the Tar Heels. Threatening. Possible change of play. All on the option. Nowhere. Paul McGowan, number 38, with the stop. It'll be third down 10. Fred Jones, 55, and McGowan, 38, are tough in the middle for Florida State University Seminoles defensive alignment.
Let's take a look at Fred Jones here. He's the second leading tackler on the team last year and a big play guy. Reads it right now, filling to the outside, takes on Pat Crowley, 51, stuffs the play, forces Hall to turn it back upfield. Right now, say hello to Paul McGowan.
5 defensive backs in there for the Seminoles. Third down 9 from the 14 for Carolina. Here they come. Hall gets it away. Has a man. Touchdown! Eric Streeter, North Carolina, scoring first in this ball game. And Curtis Thomas, 22, was covering on the play and didn't get his man covered. Eric Streeter, the senior, with a touchdown reception. And just like last year, North Carolina has taken the lead in this ball game. A 14-yard TD pass, Hall to Streeter. So Florida State came out looking like they were going to dominate early offensively, moving the ball, but then stuttered and stammered an exchange of punts, and then the big gainer on the pass to the fullback, James Thompson, set up the third down touchdown pass. Here's Lee Gliarmas for the point after. It is good. And with 1:43 to go in quarter number 1, North Carolina 7, Florida State nothing.
Dick Crum's got to be proud of his offensive line here. Here they come. You can see McGowan taking off. Harp 58 heading in there. Freddie Jones. A nice job of protection by North Carolina. Makes it tough on Curtis Thomas. There's only so long you can stay with a receiver, and that was too long for Curtis Thomas.
Well, Eric Streeter is their senior leader in terms of the receiving corps at North Carolina. He's the guy they always look to when they try to go down to that area.
We get to see it again here from our end zone camera. Good shot. You see those linebackers coming up the gut there. Thompson steps up, takes on Jones, and now Streeter's putting the move on Curtis Thomas. Breaks back to the outside, had him turned around. Good move, Eric Streeter.
His second touchdown reception of this young football season. Minute 43 to go in the first quarter. It's a little bit surprising to me, Tim Foley. By the way, I want to mention here before I forget it that the officials in this ball game are from the Atlantic Coast Conference. They are ACC officials under an agreement between the ACC and Florida State that they will swap. Last year, Southern Independent officials officiated the game up in Chapel Hill, and there's Eric Streeter, senior from Silva, North Carolina, the mountain country.
You know, the thing that Mickey Andrews talked about was just having to stick with North Carolina. They're the type of team that can lull you to sleep. They'll run the ball, then come with a play pass or a big play that can hurt you. Florida State played well against Nebraska for 3 quarters not last week, week before last, but it was a couple of big plays that broke their back.
Keith Ross at the 9. Good return again across the 30 to the 31-yard line, tripped up by Dan Kulatich, a defensive back, special teams player, and Chip Ferguson goes back in there for FSU. 3 out of 7 for only 24 yards throwing the ball. The Tar Heels scoring drive, 55 yards, 14-yard reception for the touchdown, but the big one was the 35 yards and the run when fullback Thompson caught the pass. James, sophomore from Lumberton. From the 31, first down 10, Seminoles trailing 7-0. Minute 36 to go, first quarter. Ferguson goes down. The offensive line problems continue to be a problem for Florida State. That's the second sack of the day. Ron Burton, the man, number 97.
For North Carolina.
On this particular play, Ferguson is looking for the tight end, Pat Carter. You see him looking over the middle. Carter trying to come around behind that linebacker. Burton beats Henley for the sack.
And we might point out again that that strong tackle position is the one that was manned by the late Pablo Lopez. And Jim Henley, who'd been playing at center, moved over there because of his athletic abilities. Tim Hebron might also try to fill that spot. Sammy Smith back to the 33-yard line. It was 3rd and 17. It'll bring up about 3rd and 7 or so for Florida State University. And this Seminole offense, Bobby Bowden wasn't kidding us and wasn't whistling past midnight when he was telling us that he's got problems on offense.
And it's in the place where it probably takes the most time to develop.
That's Houston, the tight end for North Carolina, who had hurt his knee. 3rd down 8 from the 33. Ferguson moving around in the pocket, has a man open. It's Holloman, first down at the 40, 35, out of bounds, inside the 30. Darren Holloman, the water bug, 5'7" junior from Tallahassee. And Chip Ferguson gets him with a 38-yard pass on 3rd and 8.
This time the Florida State offensive line gives Chip Ferguson time to wait for his receiver to come open. Fake it to Sammy Smith, try to suck the linebackers up a little bit, but basically they had Norris Davis trying to run with Darren Holloman. Holloman left him in the dirt. A big gainer.
And a quick opener there to Tanner Holloman. Brett Rudolph with the stop, number 54, the best linebacker for North Carolina. And Florida State trailing 7-0 coming back now. They got about 5 yards on that quick opener.
Darren Holloman is one of the quickest players I've ever seen. We had an opportunity to see them a few times last year, and it's just an exceptional athlete with the ball in his hands.
That's the end of the first quarter with North Carolina leading 7-0. This is Super Football Saturday on TNT.
You've waited all year long for a sale like this. It's the fantastic Ford Finale at your Florida and South Georgia Ford dealers. It's now or never. 15,000 cars and trucks must be sold to make room for the 87s. There will be millions of dollars in discounts, plus low 2.9% financing or up to $1,000 cash back. But you must act now for huge savings during the fantastic Ford finale at your Florida and South Georgia Ford dealer.
Steve Pajic for governor. Endorsed by 2/3 of our leading newspapers, by over half of our Democratic legislators, by the statewide organizations of thousands of environmentalists, 10,000 firefighters, 29,000 police officers, and 46,000 teachers. Florida, you've found another leader. Steve Pajic for governor.
Quality, it's today's Buick. Beginning of the second quarter, North Carolina leading 7-0. Seminoles on the move here. On the second down 6. This is Sammy Smith. Short of the first down by a couple of yards to about the 22-yard line. This is the first start for Sammy Smith. He's had some terrific games, but he has never started before. Redshirt freshman. He has to play well for Florida State to be able to keep things loose in there. And he's going to have to play well individually some, because they still are trying to find something to happen right with that offensive line.
I think that's right, Bob. He's going to have to be able to break some tackles to cause some things to happen on his own.
3rd and 4 from the 22-yard line. Penalty markers down. Haven't been many so far in this ball game. The referee, the man in the white hat, is Donald Safret, who will be explaining the situation to us. Illegal procedure, Florida State. It was 3rd down 4. This will make it 3rd and 9. Move the ball back to the 27.
If you don't have a solid offensive line, it's a lot easier to develop a passing attack than it is a running attack. So it puts a lot more burden on the running back to break some tackles, get some yardage on his own, to make things happen on his own. Florida State, I think, has got a problem throwing the ball simply because their receiver core is really banged up. It's really black and blue, and that just adds to the other situations that they have to deal with.
Carter's going to throw on 3rd and 9 now. Goes to Sammy Smith out of the backfield, but North Carolina's there. Very well-coached, disciplined North Carolina team. Reuben Davis, number 93, with the tackle. It'll bring up 4th down, and we're going to have another field goal attempt here on the part of Florida State. They'll spot the ball at the 27, making it a 44 to 45-yard attempt from Derek Schmidt. He's 2 out of 4 on the season now. Derek Schmidt is in range of becoming Florida State's all-time leading scorer if he has a good season. Let's see if this one's going to make it. He's not off to a very good start. He doesn't hit that one either. He's 0 for 2 today on field goal attempts, and it remains North Carolina 7, Florida State nothing, with 13:34 to go in the first half of play from Doak Campbell Stadium on the campus of Florida State University in Tallahassee.
We're not a company, but we recognize potential. We develop it. We use it. We'll make sure that as your responsibility grows, so will you. As your ability for leadership grows, so will you. Working with us, you'll gain self-confidence, become a person with a future. We're not a company. We're your country. We're the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Buick announces the big one. 2.9 annual percentage rate GMAC financing. Now on any new 1986 Buick. Sure, others are offering special financing, but then they're not selling Buicks. 2.9% financing on every new 1986 Buick. Or choose cash back of up to $1,500 depending on model selected. Length of finance contract is limited. Hurry, you've got to see it to believe it.
Wouldn't you really rather have a Buick?
The greatest name in Carolina football history, and one of the greatest in Southern football, is Charlie Choo Choo Justice, but they're playing on the field. We'll give you history lessons a little later in the ball game. Here's the handoff to number 12, Derek Fenner. He's stopped at the 28-yard line. North Carolina leading 7-0.
Last year they had a load of inexperience in the Seminole secondary. This year they came back with 2 excellent interior linebackers and 4 experienced defensive backs, and their defensive line is new and trying to grow.
12 Fenner, 40 Thompson in the backfield for Carolina. Second down, 9 from the 29. Here is Fenner. Close to a first down. May have it out near the 49-yard line. Derek Fenner missed the game against Kansas because he had missed a couple of meetings and then missed the team plane, and he was disciplined, didn't get to make the trip. And Humes ran all the way, but this is the runner of the future for North Carolina. Derek Fenner, the sophomore. What a specimen. 6'4", 225. He and Sammy Smith, tailback for Florida State, are not dissimilar athletes. Fenner, number 12 again. Stopped right at the line of scrimmage after getting the first down on the other one. Back to Atlanta now for this college football update.
Thank you very much, Bob. Kevin Slayton here in the studio, and Pitt is on the comeback trail at Purdue. It's now 14-7 Purdue. Pitt scoring on a 4th and goal. Craig Hayward going in from a yard out. Virginia Tech leads winless Syracuse 13-10. That game is in the second quarter. And Wake Forest has just scored again. They now lead North Carolina State 17-0. That game is a first quarter score. Now let's go back to Tallahassee.
Second down, 9, play underway here. This is number 12, Fenner. He falls down. On the second down long, it'll bring up third down long, and North Carolina with a conversion situation. Massive wholesale defensive changes going on for Florida State now as they prepare to play against this passing situation.
I was talking to Mickey Andrews about that as you look at Dick Crum sending in the play. Mickey Andrews likes to use situation defense, likes to get a lot of people in the football game, feels like it keeps them in the game more, keeps them better prepared. We'll talk about that in a minute.
87 Smith, 23 Marriott, the wide receivers for the Carolina Tar Heels on 3rd and 8 from their own 41. Good protection, swings it out of the backfield to Fenner. Fenner is close to the first down, I think short. I believe he's going to be about a yard short. 58 Thomas Harp with the tackle. It'll depend on the mark of the ball, but I think he did not make it, and that is a fact. And in comes the punting unit. So Florida State's defense gives up 7 3/4 yards, but that's all they needed to hold them to. It was 4th down, 3rd down and 8.
Excellent upfield play by Paul McGowan on that screen. Recklessly threw his body in front of a couple offensive linemen.
Another boomer from Miller. Going to go out of bounds. What a great punt. Did it go out of bounds or into the end zone? It went, according to the official, in the end zone, but the one on the side says the 3. And that's the official who's going to make the call. And it will be 1st and 10 Florida State from their own 3-yard line. This is Super Football Saturday on TNT.
I always wanted to be like my father, order me a dry martini.
I saw there was an image behind drinking, the people that drank, that they looked older and sophisticated. I was 11 when I lost my virginity to a guy who was 17. I was drunk.
Drinking had taken me so far down I had to get out of my house.
Sometimes I'd sleep in the woods. If I didn't sleep in the woods, I slept on the corner. If I didn't sleep on the corner, I slept at someone's house who I didn't even know.
I had wound up in a lot of trouble with the law. I had wound up in jail.
When I was drinking, I was with a lot of guys, and a lot of guys used me.
I hurt my parents dearly. I knew at the time I was doing it, but I didn't care, just as long as I got high.
I was so miserable. I hated myself. Every time I looked in the mirror, I wanted to cry.
Hey, yo, alcohol is a drug, man, and you can get hooked on it. And the younger you start, the more damage you can do. Word. Just no experience for no kids my age or anyone younger.
If you want to be somebody, have a family, have a future, just say no.
Say no and say yes to your life.
It's been nearly a year since last year's hurricane season devastated the Apalachicola Bay Area. We'll bring you up to date on one area's road to recovery. Join me, Mike Fabrizio, and David Neal tonight at 11 on News Site 27.
Whether Kenny Miller was going to do a good job punting today. Well, he did a great job. A 49-yard punt that went possibly not out of bounds, as we see on the replay. It was marked out of bounds at the 3. What do you think?
Yes, it was, and the official was right on it. I'd have to say that it was probably out of bounds, regardless of what it looks like from the upper deck
and
up
if
here.
if the ball hit any part of the white line, the white is out of bounds. So it could have been out of bounds. Probably was. At any rate, Florida State's ball, 1st down 10 at their own 3. Floyd and Palmer in the backfield. They hand it to big David Palmer, junior from Tallahassee, number 48, who's just going to try to ram it out of there. He doesn't get much. Out across the 3, about a half a yard, maybe.
Always an interesting place to play defense here. In one sense, you're thinking goal line because you don't want them to get a first down. You want to force them to punt from deep in their own territory. In the other sense, you got to really be careful because this is home run territory. This is swing from your heels territory. So as a defensive back, you really got to give them some room.
Holloman and Gaynor lined up on the top of your screen. Holloman goes in motion. They're just going to run it again. Nothing going this time. Victor Floyd, 27. Back at tailback goes down. Kubi Colombo with the tackle. He's number 95, playing a little hurt today for North Carolina. There's Dick Crum. Kubi Colombo from Zaire. He's listed, his hometown is listed as earned in Virginia. His father's a diplomat in the Washington area. He's only played football for just a few years. He's, matter of fact, I think it's 3. Played 1 year before college.
And look at Dick Crum. That's interesting. Now, he gives Denny Marson, the defensive coordinator, a lot of room. Denny calls all the defensive signals, and, of course, Dick Crum built a lot of his success on defense.
On the 3rd down, here is a freshman, Reno Fells. Doesn't get much. He gets out to the 8-yard line. Fells is a redshirt freshman from Palatka. Baldwin and Burmeister with a stop, and Florida State will have to punt it.
Reno Fells, the ball carrier for the Seminoles.
Here's 95, Kubi Colombo. He's injured.
Stop for North Carolina.
And he has made some dramatic progress as he tries to chase down Fells there. He made some dramatic progress during the spring in replacing Reuben Davis, which really encouraged the Davis move to interior lineman as opposed to defensive end.
Out of the end zone, Berry. They're trying to block it. He got it away. Good punt, too. Starr. 41. Good coverage. Starr's down at the 45-yard line. Pretty good job of getting the ball out of their end zone by Berry and the Florida State University punting team. The tackles were made by 53 Odell Haggins and 21 John Hadley. They almost blocked this one.
Of course, it's Florida State over the last several years that has developed the reputation for blocking punts. This time North Carolina coming after them, and they do an excellent job of not running into the punter. That was Chuck Sledge. Oftentimes, a young man will hit the punter after an effort like that. Good job by Sledge.
First down, 10, Carolina at the 45-yard line of the Tar Heels. They lead 7-0. We're in the 2nd quarter. Jonathan Hall to throw. Good protection. Oh, what a hit. Derek Finner didn't get a hold of it, but Shiver, number 37, has I think Shiver has a good name because he will put a shiver in you when he hits you. 37.
They call him, he's one of those helmet rattlers. They call him the Georgia Cracker. Because his affinity for disrupting the direction of people with the football.
2nd down, 10 from the 45-yard line. 8:32 to go, 2nd quarter. Bob Neal, Tim Foley with you. Hope you're enjoying Florida State, North Carolina from Tallahassee. Hall has his man right at the first down stick. Eric Streeter, the receiver. I believe he got past it, close enough for the first down. They'll spot the ball out there. North Carolina has had possession of the ball longer than Florida State here in the first half. The Seminole defense out there a long time, and it's going to be hot here today, in the upper 80s.
One of the things that concerned Andrews was the fact that against Nebraska, they didn't substitute enough, and he felt like their football team was worn out in the 3rd quarter and in the 4th quarter, and that led to some of the breakdowns. And today he made a commitment to getting people in there faster. And we talked about that situation defense, Bob, as they did not make the first down. It's going to be 3rd in inches. Talked about where that developed. Who started using that substitution defense? And he felt that Bear Bryant was the first one to really wholesale substitute. And he used that as a recruiting tool. It was unfortunate if a young man came to a university, if he wasn't a starter, he just didn't play much at all. And now there'll be, well, for example, North Carolina's got 13 people on their defense with 10 tackles or more. They're playing a lot of folks.
So it's 3rd down inches. You saw the mark of the ball, just the nose of the ball away from a first down. Our formation. They give it to the tailback. Fenner gets the first down inside the 45 to the 43-yard line, and North Carolina keeps its drive alive. Gerald Nichols with the tackle, number 79.
You know, Dick Crum was first known as a defensive coordinator at Miami University. He was a defensive coordinator for 4 years, and they were in the top 6 of the nation in defense all 4 years. First 1 year. And
1st and 10 from the 44. Not much this time, just a couple to the fullback, 27, Brad Lopp, tackled by the nose guard, Thomas Harp, number 58 for the Seminoles.
And it's interesting how a defensive coach, when he becomes a head coach, will drift to the offense, will be more interested in the offense. Now, Bobby Bowden, on the other hand, has always been offensively oriented, always been a fireworks type of coach.
Second down, 8 from the 42. Carolina leading 7-0. Bobby Bowden worried about his team's performance today after the tragedy last week. Here's Fenner. Breaking tackles, gets inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. Greg Newell, number 40, with the stop. This Florida State defensive team gave up 13 on that, and they are playing without much spark today so far in this game.
Here's the kind of running that you expect to see from a back that's touted as Fenner has been touted. Great block there by Harris Barton, who's probably the best lineman in the ACC, and Fenner is breaking tackles.
1st and 10 from the 29-yard line. Jonathan Hall, play fake, rolling and throwing. It is incomplete, intended for Lopp at the 28. He took a pop from our Tim Foley of Florida State's defensive backfield, Stanley Shiver. Shiver is ever looming back there, and Hall goes to 5 out of 8 for 77 yards now early in this game in the passing statistical department. Brings up 2nd down, 10 from the 29. Hall has had excellent protection, but he has some mobility. Hall can move around. He's not a running quarterback, but he can roll out, as you just saw. That buys him some time. Good protection again. Almost picked off by number 46, Felton Hayes. Had it in his hands. It was intended for 82, Dave Truitt, the tight end. Brings up 3rd down, 10.
Jonathan Hall is your athletic type quarterback as opposed to the drop back style of his backup, Mark May. Little play action pass, got a receiver down deep in the corner. Florida State took that away. Hall read it back to the short receiver, the tight end, and Hayes makes a nice play on the ball, takes it out of the air.
3rd and 10 from the 29-yard line. Big defensive play here on the part of the Florida State Seminoles, and the officials down there with a moment of time for Harp to make some adjustments there. 58 Harp is the nose guard. He's ready. Ball is ready. Four-man rush. Incomplete. Missed his receiver. Now, they're wanting a penalty marker, but none is thrown. I don't think none deserved. McGowan covering Fenner. It'll be 4th down.
Interesting, because there was no question about it. McGowan was locked up with Fenner when the ball went by. And what happens is the linebacker starts to look right at the back. As the back tries to work inside, he jams him. And if the ball's thrown in that time, technically you're talking about pass interference.
Here's Miller with a field goal attempt from the 35. It's a 45-yard attempt. It's a fake, but Mark May goes down. The holder is nailed at the 43. Florida State University defensive team well schooled on such trickery, and they were there on Mark May. Felton Hayes with the tackle. A big play for the Seminoles defensively.
The ball goes down. Mark May never really had an opportunity to set up. They're in his face. Hayes, before he had a chance to get it off, and it had a chance, Bob. It had a chance. They had a receiver downfield. Deion Sanders was running with him, but it looked like it had an opportunity to make it to happen.
John Parks was also in on that tackle back there along with Hayes. 19 for Florida State. It's 1st down, 10. Seminoles now good field position at the 42.5-yard line of Florida State. A play fake, almost picked off. They wanted to throw it to Darren Holloman. We're going to Atlanta for this college football update.
Thank you, Bob. Kevin Slayton here in our studios. Jeff George, we told you earlier, 2 touchdown passes, but Pitt has come back to take the lead. They intercepted George, then he fumbled. Pitt just got a field goal of 47 yards from Jeff Van Horn. They lead by 3. Back to Tallahassee.
It'll be 2nd down, 10 from the 42-yard line now. Seminoles trailing 7-0, 6:30 to go, first half. Ferguson overthrows Holloman by a lot. Down at the 45-yard line, and Ferguson not sharp today either. Chip Ferguson is 5 out of 11 passing the football.
This Florida State style of offense, Bob, requires a lot of specific skill in terms of throwing the ball down the field. Often you'll see where a quarterback was 20 out of 30, but the wide receivers have only caught 4 or 5 balls. They throw the ball down the field. His percentage won't be as high, but he'll come up with more big plays.
On 3rd and 10, 2 new receivers in, 7 Lewis and 9 Philip Bryant. Ferguson steps into the pocket. Has a man wide open. It's Bryant. Out of bounds at the 33-yard line of North Carolina. Philip Bryant, the sophomore from Bainbridge, Georgia, with the reception. And Ferguson was on the mark that time for a 25-yard gainer.
And he's got the big arm. He displays it here. He's a confident young man and not the type of man to lose his poise. Steps up into the pocket and pow! He sees Philip Bryant breaking into the open and drills the ball downfield. Nice catch by Bryant.
Recovering from a broken finger. Didn't seem to have any problem holding onto the ball that time. First down 10 at the 33 now. Ferguson to go to the air again. Under pressure. Down he goes. Fumbles the ball. It's going to belong to North Carolina unless the whistle sounded, and I think it did not. It is Tar Heel football at the 43. That is the 3rd sack given up here in the first half. The man with the ball, Norris Davis, number 4. And there were 7 sacks allowed by the Florida State offensive team against Nebraska. They've given up 3 here to North Carolina. Back in a moment.
The American family. It's changed a lot. And now, so is the American family car. The front-wheel drive LeSabre sedan from Buick. Sleek and sophisticated, powered by a fuel-injected V6 engine. And though it may not look like a traditional family car, LeSabre offers full room and comfort for 6. LeSabre sedan, the American family car that's changed as much as you have.
Stolen bases, pennant races, stand right up and cheer. Now you're talking baseball. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is smoking here.
Stroh's, fire brewed for smooth, consistent taste.
Now you're talking Stroh's. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is smoking here.
Let's take a look at that sack and fumble again.
Obviously, one of the goals of the defense is to take the ball away from the offense. Excellent job. Norris Davis taking it away from him.
He almost took it and ran with it on that play. A fumble in the back, not a fumble, but a bobble in the backfield, and down goes William Humes at the 38-yard line for Carolina. Both teams sputtering a little bit. Only the 14-yard touchdown pass from Hall to Streeter has been the only scoring play in this game with 5:50 to go here in the first half. Carolina led 10-0 at halftime last year.
And both these teams are come-from-behind style teams. You know, they reflect the character of their coach. They're both teams that fight well from behind.
Second down 13 from the 39-yard line. Here's a pitch to Humes. Hit behind the line. One of the linebackers or defensive backs knifed in there. I think it was linebacker John Eifert, 52, who made the play. Shot in the backfield. Big defensive play again for the Seminoles. And this Seminole defensive team coming up with the key big plays, even though, Tim, they still do look a little flat to me, relative to the enthusiasm with which they normally play.
You're right, Bob. And once again, the wholesale substitution, they got their pass defense in there, those pass rush folks, and 5 defensive backs.
Third down 13, Carolina. Here comes the blitz. And Hall is going to get away. His mobility helps him. It's picked off. That's Deion Sanders. What a broken field runner he is to the 40-yard line. Florida State football. And the tackle was made by Jonathan Hall, the quarterback.
One of the things that Mickey Andrews was stressing with his charges was turnovers. You see Fred Jones chases Hall out of the pocket, desperately trying to get to him. Hall tries to get it up over the top of Deion Sanders, but Sanders goes up and makes the great catch, and he's probably the best athlete on the field, Deion Sanders. Look at him move now.
And you saw him step out of bounds at the point of the reception, so they spotted at the 48.5-yard line, back up field. First down 10 Seminoles from their own, from the Tar Heel 48-yard line. There's Deion. He was drafted by Kansas City Royals in Major League Baseball. Here's Holloman to the 45-yard line. This is Tanner Holloman, the senior, who is the brother of junior Darren Holloman, in case you notice the similarity of names. They are both from Tallahassee.
Midway makes the initial stop for North Carolina.
Bob Neal, Tim Foley with you from Doak Campbell Stadium. Interceptions helped Florida State come from behind to defeat North Carolina 20-10 last year, despite trailing 10-0 at halftime. It's second down 7 from the 45. Here comes Sammy Smith. He has the speed to turn the corner and the power to get the first down. He goes out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Davis and Donald on the stops for North Carolina.
Sammy Smith had a great run last game against Nebraska on a fake reverse, and that's one thing that we haven't seen from Florida State yet, a reverse, which we'll see before it's over. Sammy doesn't look as yet as though he's really running with a lot of confidence. You know, it seems like he's concentrating on some of the basic skills, but not really accelerating at the point of attack.
Receivers, 7 Ronald Lewis, a true freshman, 9 Philip Bryan in there for the Seminoles on 1st and 10 from the 37. Ferguson, his 4th sack of the day, back to the 45. He had an opportunity to release the ball, but decided not to throw, reading the coverage on his receivers. Once again, protection of the quarterback becoming a big problem. 97 Ron Burton with his 2nd of the 4 North Carolina sacks on this day.
Okay, that's one you cannot fault the offensive line for. Chip had enough time to get the ball away. What you do is you give a gold star to the coverage unit for North Carolina, and everybody covered. Ferguson just had to eat it. As he develops some experience, though, he'll throw those balls away, get them out of bounds, and not take the loss.
Ferguson, a sophomore, 2nd down, 18. And here's Sammy Smith. Needs a block to get outside. He got it. Needs another one. Got it and fell down. As he was cutting back upfield, Sammy Smith had nothing but green grass in front of him, and he goes down cutting against the grain, but he got back the loss from the sack. Really good block there by Jason Kuipers on Norris Davis. One of the Tar Heel players is down. It's number 45, Antonio Goss. They're checking him out down there about the 32-yard line. Here's the situation in this football game. We have 3 minutes, 4 seconds to go until halftime. North Carolina leads 7-0 on a 14-yard touchdown pass from Jonathan Hall to Eric Streeter. And other than that, it's been turnovers and missed opportunities for both football teams. There's Bobby talking to Chip Ferguson right now.
And
we're just about 3 minutes away from halftime in terms of the time left in this first half. Florida State University's marching band will perform, one of the very best in the country. You'll really enjoy their performance. We'll have college football scores and highlights and an update of the Pittsburgh at Purdue football game. There's Eric Schmidt, who may have another opportunity to go for a field goal. He's 0 for 2 today and in a slump. He's been one of the best kickers in the country. You see the back of his helmet. It says Lowe. That is in memory of their teammate who died a week ago, Pablo Lopez, the offensive tackle. Seminole ball, 3rd down 9 at the 36-yard line. They've attended to the injured player. We'll update you on the situation with Goss. Florida State only 2 out of 8 on these 3rd down situations. Darren Holloman in motion. Deep drop by Ferguson. Hits Smith. Can't hold on to it. Incomplete. It'd be somewhere around a 57-yard field goal attempt here, and with Eric Schmidt's problems kicking the ball, I don't know if we're going to see him or not at this opportunity. We're not Lewis Berry will punt. Schmidt 0 for 2. He's got a leg to get 57 yards, but the way he's been hitting it, I guess Bobby Bowden does not have the confidence in that happening right now. Now Berry, by the way, who is a relative of the great punter for the Atlanta Falcons for so many years, John James, is great at getting that ball down inside the 20. Let's see if he does it here. They call him a pooch kick if it bites like a 9-iron, but this one's not going to do it. That isn't how he wanted to hit it. All of us who hit a 9-iron understand that. On the far side of the green into the creek. This is Super Football Saturday on TNT.
We have to get up early in the morning at Braun Motor Car Company. Because because we make 100% customer satisfaction our goal all day long. Braun Motor Car Company, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, BMW, Audi, Volkswagen.
When you hear the name Goodyear, some people think big. But not everyone needs a tire like this. Sure, Rainey Cothins and Tallahassee Tire are the largest Goodyear tire distributor in the tri-state area. But our service is personal and geared to the individual. We have the largest selection of tires, and because we are a volume dealer, that means low prices to you. Remember, you've got friends in the business at Tallahassee Tire, North Monroe, South Monroe, West Tennessee, and Appalachian Parkway.
The greatest name in Carolina football history, one of the greatest in Southern football, is Charlie Choo-Choo Justice. He had a big impact on football. He led the Tar Heels to 3 major bowl games during his 4 years at Chapel Hill. Charlie Justice. 2 minutes, 33 seconds to go in the second quarter. It'll be first down 10 Tar Heels from their own 20-yard line following Lewis Berry's punt into the end zone. Carolina leads 7-0. Jonathan Hall, 5 out of 10 for 76 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception. Pitches to his fullback, Lopp. And Brad Lopp is brought down about the 23-yard line by Felton Hayes, number 46.
Now, the defensive line coach of Florida State, Chuck Amato, the linebacker, Wally Burnham, really have to be satisfied and pleased with the way that FSU is playing the run. North Carolina came into this game averaging almost 6 yards a carry. Right now, after 19 carries, they've amassed 27 yards. That's an excellent display of power up front.
Fenner continues to be the tailback, number 12, Derek Fenner. Lopp is the fullback. To about the 25 goes number 12, Fenner. Gerald Nichols with his 4th tackle of the afternoon. Nichols playing very well, number 79, defensive front for Florida State. Minute 48 to go here in the first half. Florida State with a timeout down here to stop the clock because they realize it's 3rd and 7, and Seminoles could have the ball in decent field position, an opportunity to try to put something up on the board before halftime. Tonight, we hope you'll join us for Super Football Saturday coverage continuation. It'll be at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, Nebraska playing against Illinois.
Dick Crum has given Bobby Bowden a little bit different look than he expected. On first down, North Carolina, who usually sat in that 8-man front with a 3-deep look, and you can attack it with some quick passing, has given them more of a standard 5-2 look. They widen Bailey, they widen Morris Davis, and they're giving him more of a conventional coverage with a double zone that takes away some of that quick passing. So at halftime, I'm sure that Bowden will get together with Wayne McDuffie, who's up here in the booth calling the plays for FSU, and they'll talk over some other options.
There's that FSU defensive team, and they have their options on their hands now with a 3rd down 4 situation from the 26-yard line. It'll be 3rd down 4. Fred Jones is the man who calls the defensive signals, number 55, very close friend of Pablo Lopez, and has had a very rough emotional week, as have all these players, but they say the impact was probably greatest on Fred Jones. On 3rd and 4. Hall, plenty of time, good protection, but now he can't find anybody. Throwing as he's hit, almost picked off by Jones at the 23, but the ball was out of bounds, incomplete. And with a minute 41 to go in the first half, it'll be another opportunity for Florida State to get their hands on the ball.
Fred Jones moving laterally as Jonathan Hall comes to the outside. Chucks Fenner out of bounds, turns to make the catch, drops the football.
And as he would tell you, he should have had it.
It's tough. It's rarely that the linebackers, they'll do this in drills every once in a while, but you get so excited, and as you saw the double clutch grab, bango, it hits the ground.
Here's Miller, who's done a great job punting so far. That's away another pretty good punt here. Deion Sanders at the 30, 35, and 40. And 43. So that's about a 13-yard return on a 44-yard punt by Deion Sanders. Number 29, Walter Bailey, with the tackle. Minute 31 remaining in the half. Here's some scores from college football. Virginia Tech leading Syracuse 16-0. That's at the half. Wake Forest out in front of NC State 17-7. Second quarter score. Houston over Oklahoma State in the second period 7-0. And Michigan struggling early. I wouldn't call it early. We don't know exactly what time it is, leading 7-3. And Maryland is leading West Virginia 7-0 in the first period. And now, while we were talking about scores. We've had changes in our game here. We'll try to keep covering this game for you the best we can. Peter Tom Willis, the new quarterback. He throws out here to number 20, Keith Ross, and Ross gets to the 44-yard line. Peter Tom Willis, a freshman, a redshirt freshman from Morris, Alabama, is a player that Bobby Bowden likes a lot, and he told us that if Chip Ferguson continued to struggle, we might see Peter Tom Willis in this football game. He had wanted to redshirt him. He avoids the sack but fumbles the ball, and down he goes at the 39. This intensive rush on the part of the Tar Heels. It was Kubi Colombo, 95, with the good quarterback pressure on the freshman quarterback.
Willis has the big arm, like Ferguson, and Bobby feels like he's going to need 2 quarterbacks to get through this year. He's concerned a little bit about Danny McManus, who was doing a fine job leading his football team last year, but then had the problem with dizzy spells, and he's concerned that he hasn't had any contact, and he's really been out of action for almost a year now, and he wanted to see what Peter Tom Willis could do under the real gun.
Peter Tom's a big guy, 6'3", 195 pounds, and he and Ferguson came there at the same time to Florida State. And it's interesting, Bobby Bowden has himself really kind of a difficult question there as to how long to stay with Ferguson, who to develop, which one to look at the longest, and quarterback is obviously a key in a team that passes the ball like this. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether Peter Tom, I love the name, it's a good Alabama name, and one that Bobby Bowden only kiddingly said, well, you know, he's from my home state, and he's got a great name. That didn't hurt him any in my eyes. Reno Fells, Keith Ross, the running backs now. 20, Keith Ross, 42, Reno Fells. It is 3rd down 8 from the 45. It was more than 3rd down 8, excuse me. Obviously, after the fumble, it was about 3rd down 14. The scoreboard a little slow catching up to that one. And Florida State is not going to get anything done that time. They'll have a 4th down, though, with 41-40 and the clock counting.
One thing I think that's important, if a quarterback's not got it going, and there can be a lot of reasons, receivers aren't getting open, not enough time to throw the football, but if he's losing the feel of the game, if he's losing control a little bit, it's good to get him out for a series, talk to him, get him on the sideline, get somebody else in there. I think you saw a perfect example last year in the Super Bowl when Tony Eason really lost control after about the 2nd possession, and I'm not saying that Grogan could have done a better job earlier, but it was apparent that he had lost his confidence. Now, Ferguson's a young player and very, very resilient, according to Bowden. As you look at Denny Harsin, there's the defensive coordinator. You can tell the defensive guys, because the offensive guys are always the good-looking ones. And Denny will forgive me, but just a lot of fun. He was out here walking off how far the numbers were from the sideline. They cover all the bases before the game.
Had his hat turned around backwards there, and he's ready to go out there and play in a heartbeat. North Carolina will be coming after this punt attempt by Lewis Berry with all 10 guys. Berry gets it away, and he hits a cannon shot. It's going to hit down and roll into the end zone. So you get a lot of distance, but it'll come out to the 20. And North Carolina is going to have 18 seconds to try to get something underway, as you see Dick Crum meeting with his coaches over there on the sideline. Dick Crum looks as though maybe he's a little bit ill, as a matter of fact. That's the head coach at North Carolina. It's very hot here. And when you see him without his earphones on, you know he's not feeling well. So Dick Crum on the sideline, we'll certainly get that updated to you. Looks as though he's not feeling well, and the attendants are with him right now. Yeah, it looks as though maybe he's not ill, but injured. Looks like he hurt his knee. Sitting down, they're applying a wrapping to the knee of Dick Crum. Here's a pitch to Lop, the fullback for North Carolina, as the clock ticks down. And at this point on the field, they're probably ready to run down. There you see the attention being placed to Dick Crum there.
He might have got caught on the sidelines when they pushed Fenner out of bounds.
Yeah, he may have been hit by it.
That's the end of the first half.
He's your coach. Not something to chuckle about. You might want to chuckle about it later if it's not serious. But you see the players there with a smile on his face. So let's hope that he's smiling because Dick Crum isn't injured seriously. But head coach of North Carolina with a sore right leg, and it's halftime. North Carolina leading 7-0.
We're not a company, but outstanding people come to us every day. People who want to make a contribution to a team and do work that really counts. People eager to see new places, do the unusual, and find the unusual. People who become your friends for life. People just like you. We're not a company. We're your country. We're the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Army. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Which cereal has more vitamin nutrition than any other? Kellogg's Product 19 cereal. But you'd never guess.
Oh?
Because Product 19 vitamins are flaky, bumpy, crispy, crunchy, and taste so good. 100% of 12 vitamins and minerals, all in these tasty flakes.
Delicious.
Kellogg's Product 19.
Flaky.
Bumpy.
Crispy. Crunchy.
Tasty vitamins.
Sunny days, catching rays, enjoy it while it's here. Now you're talking summer, now you're talking beer, now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is fucking beer.
Stroh Light. Smooth, refreshing, less filling.
Now you're talking Stroh's, now you're talking beer, now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is fucking beer.
When 100 nursery school kids were exposed to spinal meningitis, 2 pharmacists from Eckerd Drugs worked overtime against time itself. Mixing enough antibiotic, dose by dose, for each and every child. And through their dedication and concern, they stopped an epidemic before it started. To an Eckerd pharmacist, nothing's more important than your health.
Welcome back to our studios here in Atlanta. In that big intersectional clash up in West Lafayette, Indiana, it's been all Pitt now. They've scored 20 unanswered points, the latest a 35-yard field goal from Jeff Van Horn. He has 2 field goals, and they enjoy a 20-14 lead near the half. We'll have a lot more scores and highlights coming up at halftime.
Today's game is being brought to you by Stroh's and Stroh Light. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here. You're watching the Florida State University Marching Chiefs. More than 300 students participating. The director of the Marching Chiefs, Dr. Bentley Schellahamer. The drum major is Rodney Dorsey. And the theme of the music is jazz, featuring works by Menza, Mangione, the Count, and the Duke. But before we listen, I just wanted to update you on Dick Crum, North Carolina's coach. We understand that during the attempted interception by FSU linebacker Fred Jones, Crum was knocked down and possibly even passed out from being knocked down, injured his right leg, and that's when the incident happened, and you saw Dick Crum being carried off the field at halftime. We think he is okay. He was certainly conscious and appeared to be. We will get a further update on the injury to North Carolina's head coach Dick Crum on the sidelines and pass it along to you here at halftime. But right now, the Marching Chiefs from Tallahassee.
Good jazz and red-hot drumming seem to be made for each other. Let's listen to this swinging arrangement of Johnny One Note as we feature our own red-hot drums.
You're watching the Marching Chiefs, and that's Rodney Dorsey, the drum major, conducting there in the center of your picture with jazz renditions of some old-time classics here for you from Tallahassee. Back to our studios for highlights and updates right after this.
You'll see. Only nerds eat Kellogg's cornflakes.
Tony Danza eats some.
He does! Elton John! Kenny Loggins! Rob Lowe! Eat cornflakes?
It may surprise you who eats cornflakes, but not why. Great taste and solid nutrition. Make them a real breakfast hit.
Oh, wow. David Loomis eats them, too. Who's he? That hunk in my biology class.
How about the Kellogg's cornflakes now?
A typical day with the station wagon, except one thing's changed. The station wagon. The new Ford Taurus wagon, with the design and performance that make everyday driving more than an everyday experience.
Taurus!
Now there's an American car that has exactly what
we've been looking for. Taurus! 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 Have you driven a Ford lately?
Super Football Saturday continues in studio with Kevin Slayton.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our studios here in Atlanta. Hope you're enjoying the telecast from Tallahassee, and we'll take this opportunity to catch you up on all of the scores and the highlights from around the country in today's college football world. To get you started off that key southeastern battle down in Gainesville, Florida, the Gators have jumped out in front of fourth-ranked Alabama. Wayne Williams, a one-yard touchdown jaunt, and it's 7-0. Florida leading Alabama. That game is in the first quarter. Up in West Lafayette, Indiana, the game that we've been tracking for you all afternoon, Purdue and Pitt. This is Jeff George, the freshman quarterback. Touchdown pass to Lance Shive of 11 yards that put Purdue out 7-0. Then George went at it again, slips and falls, but gets up and throws 25 yards to Shive, and it was 14-0 Purdue. But since then, it's been all Pitt, as George has taken off the Superman cape, had an interception. He's fumbled the ball. Pitt going in there to make it 14-7, and here comes the interception. Billy Owens picks it off and takes it 40 yards to pay dirt. That tied it at 14. Jeff Van Horn has added 2 field goals, and Pitt is out in front of that one now, 20-14, and that game is nearing halftime up at Purdue. So the Panthers on a roaring comeback. In the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, Maurice Williams for Virginia Tech, 23 yards for the opening score, 7-0 Virginia Tech at that point. And then Robert Drummond comes in for Syracuse and goes over from a yard out. Now that makes it 10-7. The Gobblers still in the lead. Syracuse 0-2 coming into this game, desperately in need of a victory at home. And then Chris Kinzer for Virginia Tech, who's been hot all afternoon, with his third field goal attempt of the first half. He bangs it home, 16-10. Virginia Tech is in the lead in that game. Now in the third quarter up at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, the Orangemen, if they lose that one, would get off to an 0-3 start, and certainly no one up in Syracuse expected that. Checking some of the rest of the scores for you. Wake Forest leading North Carolina State 24-7, that in the second quarter. Look at this one. Houston 21-3 now. Oklahoma State has added a field goal late in the second quarter. Pat Jones at Oklahoma State is going to start feeling the heat. They lost to Tulsa last week, and they're being embarrassed by Houston at home this week. Oregon State and Michigan. That one's at Ann Arbor, and Oregon State proving a little bit stubborn. The third-ranked Wolverines leading 7-3. The Beavers went up 3-0, and Michigan came back and they lead it in the first quarter. Maryland out in front of West Virginia's second quarter score. The 22nd-ranked Terps lead it 7-0. Ohio State and Colorado. Here's two teams that desperately need a victory. Both are 0-2, neither expected to be there. But Ohio State, humbled by Washington last week up in Seattle, is out in front of the Buffaloes. That game being played in Columbus, 3-0, the strength of a Buckeye field goal. Kentucky leading Kent State. That game a first quarter score. Kentucky's Wildcats 16-0. Checking some of the Ivy League scores, the early starting games. Cornell out in front of Princeton 16-0. That game is in the second quarter. And we will come back to recap some of the other scoring for you and check out all of the college football happenings after this on the TNT Network.
I'm Hurley Rudd. To be an effective state representative takes time to listen to the people and time to act. As Tallahassee City Commissioner and Mayor, I took the time to hear what you had to say. City Hall records show that in 1985, I responded to almost 4 times as many citizen requests as my opponent. As your District 10 state representative, I will be just as accessible, just as willing to listen, and just as willing to act. I'm Hurley Rudd. I'll thank you for your vote and support on September the 30th.
At Adventures in Travel, automation is the key to cutting your business travel expenses.
Today's travel is complex. On a single flight, there may be as many as 5 different airfares. Our combination of 2 computer systems allows us to give you the lowest seat price available.
We can show you how our free services can help reduce your business travel expense by as much as 30 to 50%.
Adventures in Travel, North Florida's most sophisticated travel agency.
Star Trek, Saturday night at 7 on 27.
Welcome back to our Atlanta studios, updating that Pittsburgh-Purdue game for you. Pitt has scored again. They've now run off 27 consecutive points, and they lead over Purdue 27-14 as that game nears the end of the first half. Checking some of the other Ivy League action for you. Penn and Dartmouth doing battle in the second quarter. 10-0. Penn leads it. Brown over Yale, 7-0. That one in the first quarter. Columbia and Harvard, the Crimson, playing up there in Cambridge, and they're tough there. They lead Columbia 10-0. That one in the first quarter. Bowling Green and Central Michigan out of the Mid-American Conference. They're all squared off at 10. Game is in the second quarter. Connecticut leading Richmond 9-7. That contest also advancing into the second quarter. And Long Beach State has journeyed into the Midwest to play Western Michigan. In the second quarter, they're all tied at 7 apiece. Some of the games that don't have the big marquee value, but they certainly do produce some high-powered NFL players. Bethune-Cookman updating for you, leading 10-6 over Howard in the second quarter. Maine leading Rhode Island 14-0. That game also in the second quarter. Our game this evening that will kick off at 7 o'clock Eastern Time features Nebraska going to Champaign, Illinois to battle the Fighting Illini. And our Skip Carey, who will be in Champaign to call the game, had a chance to sit down and talk with Illini head coach Mike White.
Coach, what are you going to do to beat Nebraska? And I know that's a loaded question.
Well, they're a great football team, Skip, and we respect them. And we know it's the kind of football team that's going to bring out the best in our players and our fans. And I think it's just a great college spectacle. And, again, we're just going to give it our best shot.
Does it concern you when you print 2 deeps and theirs are all 3 and 4 deeps on the speed cards?
I'm just glad you can only play 11 at a time, and that's key. But, again, I think they're a good football team. And like I say, they've built a tremendous program that we're trying to emulate.
Thanks for your time. Good luck.
Thanks very much, Skip.
Paul Horning and I will have Nebraska-Illinois football later on tonight here on TBS.
All right, thank you very much, Skip. Of course, that game again kicks off at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. And don't forget to tune in for that. We'll be along with all the scores and highlights all day and all evening for you to keep you updated. And before we go back to Tallahassee, let's take an up-close look at both of those schools in that game, North Carolina and Florida State.
Faculty members at Florida State University have been recognized with such honors as the Nobel, the Pulitzer, and membership in the National Academy of Sciences. With a diversity of backgrounds, these faculty members provide leadership throughout Florida State's 15 schools and colleges. Known nationally and internationally for research, service, and publishing, FSU faculty exert their greatest impact teaching the university's 23,500 students. Faculty excellence is evident as they conduct research with the world's most powerful supercomputer, contribute to future creative genius in the performing arts, work on social science policies affecting the state, the nation, and the world, and directly influence and prepare tomorrow's leaders. At Florida State, faculty are recognized for their excellence in teaching in the classroom and the laboratory, and in fields of research around the globe. Thanks to this educational foundation, Florida State graduates excel in virtually every walk of life. An example of quality making a difference. The faculty of Florida State University.
At the University of North Carolina, people make the difference. For most students at Chapel Hill, getting to class is only the beginning of their education. When undergraduates work with some of the top researchers in their fields, seeing is more than just believing, it's experiencing. They hear about a discovery long before it's printed in a textbook, creating an atmosphere that thrives on teacher-student interaction. At the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, that's what getting an education is all about.